Should Steven Moffat return to Doctor Who is an interesting question. I think it'll be fun to discuss. Now, what's brought this question on? Firstly, Russell T Davies returning as showrunner means it's possible. Like, old showrunners can return to the show and come back and do another couple of series. So therefore, if RTD can do it, why can't Steven Moffat? However, there's an important distinction that we need to look at between RTD and Steven Moffat. RTD has never written episodes under someone else's era, whereas Steven Moffat has. And therefore, to answer the question, should Steven Moffat return, they're two separate questions. Should he return as a writer for the show, or should he return as a showrunner for the show? Firstly, I want to look at showrunner. Because although the headlines when Steven Moffat was talking about it were all looking at Steven Moffat does not want to return to Doctor Who at all, in the article he talks about being showrunner. He talks about the fact that he did 6 seasons and, he feels like, he's done his time, and he feels like Russell, because he only did 4, has the right to come back and add more to his legacy. I'm paraphrasing, but yous get the gist. I have to admit, I completely agree with him. As showrunner, I don't think Steven Moffat should come back. Firstly, for the reason he himself mentioned. We had 6 years of Moffat Doctor Who, and I really enjoy quite a lot of his time, but we had quite a lot of it. So not only can I understand why it probably wouldn't be that creatively fulfilling for him to come back, he's also left a sizable stamp on it. He was, showrunner overall for 7, 8 years? So Steven Moffat was probably showrunner for about 10% of my lifetime. That's long enough. That's a sad fact to state, actually. Steven Moffat was showrunner of Doctor Who for a 10th of my likely lifetime. I think you also have to look at the difference in cases between RTD and Steven Moffat. I've discussed this when looking at what RTD is going to do for the show going forward, but he was writing Doctor Who at a very different time. I'd probably argue Doctor Who as a show changed a lot more between 2005 and, say, 2010, when there was a change of showrunner there between RTD and Steven Moffat, than the show really did change between 2010 and 2018, when Steven Moffat and Chris Chibnall swapped places. And not only that, RTD has changed a lot as a writer, and is writing very much different things to the things he was writing 15 years ago. And that's why it makes sense for him to come back as showrunner. I don't think Moffat's changed too much as a writer since then. There hasn't been long enough for the way TV works to have changed. I don't think Steven Moffat would bring enough new to a new era. However, here's where I want to add in a nerdy Brit plot twist. Steven Moffat should definitely come back to the show as a writer under a showrunner. Now kids, this is where we get controversial. RTD was a better writer under RTD than he was overall in his own era. Steven Moffat was a godsend for RTD. He didn't give any stinkers. He was fantastic for RTD. What Steven Moffat is fantastic for is giving us different flavours in series. If you take The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances out of the context of Series 1, it doesn't feel like a Series 1 episode. It's a great switch up when rewatching the show, and I'm very grateful for it. Any Steven Moffat episode you can think of, I like it within the RTD era. And while the time away might not mean he has a fresh take for showrunner, as a Doctor Who fan, I bet he has a lot of different Doctor Who ideas brewing. And I think he's a fantastic writer, and I would love to see him add some of those new flavours and spices to series. Also, I think that would be more creatively fulfilling for him, because it means he can explore some of his creative avenues and, write some other things, whilst also meaning he can continue to work on the show he loves. Now, will this happen? No. If I am 100% honest, I think it is more likely that Steven Moffat would come back as showrunner than as just a standalone writer. And I don't think it's very likely he'll come back as showrunner anyway. In terms of that balance between just showrunner and just writer, I think he would like the control. And not in a bad way, in a human way. But I think he would like to keep control if he was to come back. But it's fun to speculate, and, never know. What happens, happens. I'd be surprised if he ever comes back. That's what I think. And even though I've mainly presented the argument why Steven Moffat should come back as a writer, I think there'll be big pluses and minuses for him coming back as showrunner, and I think there'll be big pluses and minuses for him never coming back. We'll never know until it happens, and if it doesn't happen, we'll know it hasn't happened. Well, hey. Now, I'm going to ask you one simple favour. I've just made one of your favourite YouTube videos of all time. So please subscribe. I would really like you to, because it will boost my ego. And if you want to see what I think is going to, roughly be the way RTD goes with his second era, this is the video for it. This one. This one. Just... Why haven't you clicked it yet? Huh? Am I not good enough? Oh, sorry, yeah, you got your... My face is over there too. I know I've got a pretty face, but you can see my face there too. So just click it, please.